Hello everybody, this is Dr. Tyler Evans from Arete Chiropractic in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Today we are doing our research live moment on chiropractic management of primary nocturnal enuresis. Lots of big words there, which basically meaning bedwetting in children. And so that might be kind of a far off different thing that you may not recognize or know that chiropractic could help with, but what we find is that children with primary type of bedwetting, which is primary means they've had a problem from early on, and that problem has not been broken, where they wet the bed more than twice a week, and they diagnose it enuresis after 5 years old. And then secondary nocturnal enuresis would be if it was diagnosed where it had been a problem and then went away for 6 months and then came back after that 6-month period to where that would be called the secondary version of it. So bedwetting and chiropractic, and how can it help? Not something that most parents know of, but a lot of parents deal with. So it's estimated that 5 to 7 million children are affected by enuresis, as well as it's more prevalent or shows up more in boys. And what we see is that at 5 years old, we tend to have a 10 to 15% of the population express this enuresis problem. And then as they age, at 8 years old, it tends to go down in kind of half, down to 6 to 8%. And then at 15 years old, it's down to 1 to 2% of the population. So it is as time goes on, the body tends to kind of work itself out and correct whatever problem might be there through the nervous system. And so, what's the story behind this is, treatment-wise. Let's talk about that. So treatment includes bedwetting alarms, okay, and then we have medication, and we have behavioral therapy. And this, so the paper that I'm talking about with the chiropractic piece is this paper here. So Chiropractic Management of Primary Nocturnal Enuresis out of JMPT in 2015. But also I pulled some stats out of another paper that was done in 2005. That paper was 1994. But then in 2005, Management of Primary Nocturnal Enuresis from the Canadian Pediatric Society got some stats out of that. And the stats out of that paper, it was done by the pediatric doctors. They talked about doing the alarm system. So when the child wets the bed, an alarm goes off, which is kind of traumatic to the child, but that's the purpose of it. So it wakes the child up, and so they start to recognize when they're having a problem. And then as well, the medications, which tend to have side effects. And those side effects can range from anything from increased suicide rate to just constipation and dizziness and headaches, to a lot of other things, which if you can avoid the medication, that would be ideal. And then behavioral therapy, psychotherapy. And so, those are all options, but chiropractic isn't on there. And why is chiropractic not on there? Well, it's not well known that chiropractic can affect that. Why can chiropractic help with enuresis? Well, let's talk about the nervous system. So the nervous system is broken down into two parts. We have the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. Now, the central nervous system is the spinal cord up and the brain. Here, that's your central nervous system, which is basically the master control for the body. Now, then it's broken down into another part, which is the peripheral nervous system. That's these nerves here that come out on the sides that go to all the organs, tissues, and cells in the body. And they do things like sensation as well as motor function, so moving muscles and joints, as well as connecting all of the organs on the inside and helping all of the organs basically connect to the brain and function at a optimized level, an optimized rate, being heart, digestion, bladder control, a lot of other parts. And so when we break this down, that peripheral system, so you've got the central nervous system, which is the body's master control, but then you've got the peripheral system, which is that connection to the rest of the body. It breaks down into the autonomic and the somatic, and that autonomic is that internal regulation, so the heart, the lungs, the digestion, bladder control, things like that. And so it can break down into the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. So you might have heard of that before. The sympathetic is the fight or flight. So that's that, it gets the body going. It makes the eyes big. It gets your heart pumping. It makes the blood flow so you can run away from that saber-tooth tiger, or you can stand and fight. And then the parasympathetic is the rest and digest, which is what happens after you eat a meal. Everything starts to turn on the inside. The digestion starts to work. Blood goes from the extremities to the inside to help the body digest and balance everything and heal. And so what that looks like is something like this. Okay, so we have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So here's the sympathetic, here's the parasympathetic. Okay, and so what we notice is way down at the bottom, I'm going to bring this up here, we see the bladder. Okay, and the bladder is controlled by parasympathetic function. Up at the top here, what we see is, let's see if I can get it up there. Yeah, so you can see it's controlled by the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. And in the sympathetic, it's spread throughout the whole spine, but in the parasympathetic, it's actually up in the brain stem, way up high. And so, well, chiropractic can help with that, right? So how can chiropractic help with that? When we look at this study here, the chiropractic management case, we talk about, it was 57 total children, 46 of which were actually used for the study, 11 of them dropped out of the study. But for 10 weeks, they were studied. For 10 weeks, they were treated. And for 2 weeks before and after the treatment, they had non-treatment periods where they were observed. And so what they found was that 25% of the treatment group had a 50% or greater improvement in enuresis. So there was definitely a change in those children. So, if you have a child that might be struggling with that, and a family that might be struggling with that, it can be kind of heartbreaking, and it can keep parents up late at night, it can keep kids up late at night, and it can be kind of traumatic going through life like that. And so, giving chiropractic a try can really be a good option that avoids the medications and their side effects, or doing a lot of therapy, going through a lot of therapy, or having that alarm system that's kind of traumatic. And if not, it might be a combination of many things, but that paper that I showed you from 2005, that was a breakdown of the research on it, had nothing about chiropractic in there, and there's definitely a benefit from chiropractic care. And so getting your child's spine checked out is very gentle, it's very effective. We actually have some videos on our website, one video in particular, where in my experience I checked a child and adjusted a 3-year-old boy that immediately he had been having bedwetting episodes for a year or more, and his parents immediately saw the result of the bedwetting stopped, and it stayed away for quite a while. It came back, and we got him checked again, got him adjusted, but it was effective, and it actually astonished me, because it was pretty astonishing. So if you know of anyone that's struggling with that, know of families that are struggling with that, primary nocturnal enuresis, big word for bedwetting, chiropractic can help. If you have any questions, you can call our office, 603-380-9184. That's 603-380-9184. And again, I'm Dr. Tyler Evans from Arete Chiropractic. Have a great day.